How does my down payment affect my interest rate? We're going to go over down payments and if and how they can affect your interest rate on your home loan that you might be purchasing, or if you're doing a refinance, how much equity you're keeping in the home, and how it can impact the loan terms that you might be getting. We're going to look at it on conventional loans and what we specialize in, VA loans as well. So, down payments. Do they even impact interest rates in the first place? Well, it depends really on that loan type and your lender as well. So first, let's look at conventional loans. Conventional loans, down payment now can affect your mortgage interest rate. That's something that heavily changed just last year when there were new things called LLPA, loan level pricing adjustments, that were released, that all of a sudden now the matrix where we look at rates now includes down payment, and there's a drastic change on how it can impact your interest rate. We have a couple videos on that back from last year that you can go and watch on it, but the basics of it is that, hey, if you put more money down, there's typically going to be less of a loan level pricing adjustment, less of a penalty on your interest rate. But there's a little caveat there. They did modify it to where if you actually put the lowest amount down, there's also fewer restrictions. The whole thought process is to help incentivize people who have low money to put down don't get penalized as much as those putting a lot of money down. Or I should say they get a similar benefit. So really the people that typically get hurt the most are kind of in between there. And that's where it's important, if you're looking at a conventional loan, to run some of those scenarios with your loan officer. Ideally that's one of us, but we can look at and go, hey, how does 5% down affect 15, 20% down? Because there are actual adjustments on conventional loans. Now let's turn to VA loans, something we deal with all the time. That's our bread and butter, 70% of business, active duty military. VA loans, for us, down payment makes no difference at all. If you do 0% down or if you do 50% down, the interest rate's going to stay the same. Because that's a common question. Hey, if I put more money down, is that going to affect my interest rate on my VA loan? Because maybe they're told on conventional loans it does make a difference. And it does on conventional loans. For VA's sake, no real difference there. And why is that? Well, think of it this way. The VA is guaranteeing that loan no matter what. And the VA home loan guarantee, as we always say, the VA doesn't actually fund VA loans. Misnomer, people sometimes assume. The VA offers a guarantee to us as lenders when we lend money. Kind of think of it as like an insurance policy. They effectively say, hey, Evan, if your guys' company funds Johnny's loan here and he defaults for some reason, we're going to guarantee up to about 25% of the loss. There's obviously some more technical parts to it. I get it if you're watching this and you're experienced with stuff, but the basics of it are for like 25% of losses they'll cover on a VA loan if there's any major issues. And that's no matter what across the board. So what that really does is eliminate a lot of the risk, so your rate effectively stays the same. It's not your down payment, but it's like a coverage for a down payment. So there's just no real difference in mortgage rates necessary on a VA loan. So that's one of the big positives on a VA loan, especially if you're putting low money down. But some folks who are wanting to put a lot of money down, that's where we got to make sure, hey, let's check that VA loan against a conventional to see if conventional might edge it out. Still, it usually doesn't unless you combine a bunch of factors: high credit, high down payment, subject to the VA funding fee, because if you don't have that on conventional, that can make it worthwhile. Those are really like scenarios where it starts to balance. But just be aware, your down payment can affect your interest rate, typically if you're dealing with conventional loans or other type of loans as well. But if you're working with a VA loan, know that with us, it doesn't make a difference on your mortgage interest rate if you're putting more money down or less money down. Now, credit score can affect it some, but your down payment does not. My name's Evan Kaufman, your VA loan originator. Hope this helps explain how down payments can affect your rate. Take care. Bye.